here in the hall in Sheffield City Hall. Everybody's loosened up. Let's say the hospitality is flowing. I think that's putting it mildly. How do you think the event's going so far, Steve?
Well, it's always nice to sort of see the players in relaxed mode. But obviously, the closer they get to the winning line, they'll still want to sort of get those competitive juices going. But hopefully, the people that have been watching have enjoyed it. It's a nice event to be involved in, I think.
Played in good spirits so far, John. That's the important thing.
It certainly is. I mean, Ken's having a great time. He had a great time in his match with John Higgins. It was actually funny to be in the commentary box. They seem to have a riot, and it's nice to see them play like that, a bit more relaxed. But of course, they get near the business end, and the prize money gets a little bit more for a day's work. So they might get a bit more serious about it.
Well, for those of you, or us, of a certain vintage who remember Pot Black, the original series, it ran from 1969, midweek for about half an hour. And seriously, Steve, without it, how far behind do you think the development of snooker would be at this point?
Wow. Well, I certainly don't think perhaps the BBC would have been confident enough to have given the World Championships the full blast. They're dependent upon producers and things like that. But BBC did Pot Black, and that was the sort of the testing ground for going further to sort of Wimbledon-style snooker. And I don't really know. It's an interesting question.
Who did you admire when you look back? Because that was perhaps the most important thing. It did, as you say, Steve, help to popularise the sport and really provide it coverage to a mass audience.
Well, they were all great characters, weren't you? You got Ray Reardon was there, Spencer, you got the Higgins. Every time Alex was on, you just knew that people at home were going to be watching that. And of course, you had Dennis Taylor. Steve was on there later, Cliff Thorburn, Teddy Gus. You all had your favourites. Great characters in the sport.
Yeah. And Ted Lowe was the character. He was instrumental in making the game so fascinating, and the commentators played their part as well. And that part of it, the whole thing was really, what inspired a generation of kids, and I was hooked.
And now we're at a crossroads. The sport is on tenterhooks because we really don't know how Willie Thorne's going to do on Strictly Come Dancing tonight. And frankly, I'm worried for him. Are you?
Well, I was talking to him the other day, and he's worried about walking down the stairs. He thinks he could trip. We don't know. We just don't know if he's been practising.
Well, I think he's been practising. A little bird told me that you were asked, weren't you?
Yeah, I might have been asked, but that's as far as it's going.
Let's just hope tonight he's Mr. Maximum and not Mr. Minimum.
Indeed, yes. Good luck, Willie Thorne. Get voting for Big Willie Thorne. Absolutely, yeah. But back to the serious business. We're at the semi-final stage of this Pot Black Cup, and I think a big, grand occasion like this deserves a big build-up from our very own MC, Richard Bear. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Well, arguably the most successful player in the game is a man who has smashed virtually every single record in the book. 7 times world snooker champion, Stephen Hendry! Well, this former world champion is now one of snooker's most feared competitors, the reigning Malta Cup champion, the Wisdom Warrior, Shaun Murphy!
Well, this might be all over in a flash, or it could take some time. That's the beauty of the one-frame shootout. John's back in the commentary box, just alongside a man for whom it's strictly snooker these days, Dennis Taylor. Dennis, how did you fare in Pot Black over the years?
I got to the final the first 2 years, 1975, 74, 75, and it sort of helped make my name, really. I think the game wouldn't have been where it is today without Pot Black. I think it did a lot for the game of snooker. And of course, colour television really was the big thing. Snooker was made for colour TV. Pretty good safety shot from Stephen Hendry, who I was sitting beside at lunch out in the venue there, and we joined all the spectators there and had lunch with him. Stephen on the water. A few of them are having something a little bit stronger there, but the players, all professional sports people, John, and I did have half a glass of wine.
And you bet you told a few Irish jokes as well.
But Stephen was in great form. He was in very good form.
Yes, he's got a new cue this season, and he's very happy with it. had a modification to his game as well. He's working with a new coach now, Chris Henry, and he seems quite upbeat actually. I've just been chatting to him in the practice table there, and he's looking forward to the season. Started to knock a few long balls in, which he feels might make a big difference this season.
Played each other on 4 occasions, and Stephen has come out the winner. 4 out of 4 against Sean Murphy, so Sean will be looking for a little bit of revenge here. Oh, that's... Well, I was going to say it's a poor shot, but
Sean
the
Murphy,
fact that the
4.
red has knocked the other red safe, I think he's okay. He hasn't really left one. It's a thin... See, that red's potable at the moment, but the fact that he's knocked it near the cushion leaves it perfectly safe.
Yes, he was actually quite lucky not to hit the jaws there, Dennis, because that would have been a proper mistake then. He certainly hit it far too thick. Probably one of those rare occasions where you're happy to see the cue ball go in the pocket. Well, that was aggressive. And he's fluked one.
Yeah, when you say aggressive, it was an aggressive safety shot, wasn't it, John, where he played to open the pack up, and bit of good fortune for the red to go in, because he's dropped on the green also. I think this is where, you know, luck in a 1-frame match can play a big part. It does even in a best of 9-frame match, but just customary little hand up there saying I'm very sorry. It doesn't make you feel any better, John, does it?
No, and the one who's putting his hand up, believe you me, he's not sorry.
Don't be letting all the secrets out, John.
4. Five.
Yes, I know, Dennis, you were always gutted when you got a fluke.
Well, there's no answer to that.
There's a little bit of work to be done here, because of course the black is out of commission. The 2 reds are on the covering the black spot, so not particularly straightforward as yet. We've got to play on the 2 reds at the back here on the right hand side.
10.
Well, he took the chance to go into them. He's just about okay, but can he get through for pink or blue? There's a red in the left corner, but could have finished a lot better. He tried to really open them up there.
Yes, referee Michaela there said touching ball, but he'll be playing away, so shouldn't move that red he's next to. One of our best referees. And not much else Sean could have done with that one,
14.
in fairness.
And this is the test of cue action, isn't it? This is the type of shot a lot of the players practice these days. They set a straight pot up, and it looks as if the blue's dead straight, and you've got to push that cue while he's taking the pink, which is just probably a little bit more difficult, but good cueing there. That's always a sign of how well you're cueing. You couldn't have had any better, John.
How well has he hit that shot? That was absolutely beautiful.
20.
See right down his cue there, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, look at the long pause there before he delivered the cue, and he didn't force the shot. Just a nice pace, and that was played to perfection. He really is a great cueist, Sean Murphy. I've practiced with Sean when he first turned professional, John, and I thought he'd got a
26.
beautiful cue action. Very, very long pause, but he certainly can create some power with that cue action.
27. Yeah, sure.
Got a nice little sparkly bow tie on there as Sean Murphy. And I think our colleague Willie Thorne, as Hazel said, will be on Strictly Come Dancing tonight. He'll have a little sparkly number on. And
32.
I know at this stage Willie will be petrified, because I was a couple of years ago. Much easier playing
33.
snooker, I can tell you.
Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Sean Murphy's cueing at the moment. That was another beautifully struck shot. Absolutely gorgeous. Straight back, just like pure in a golf shot that was, Dennis. Right out the meat of the bat. Straight through, and look how straight the cue ball
38.
came back. Absolutely lovely control.
Yeah, a lot of players and club
39.
players, you used to do a bit of coaching as well, John, in your early days, and to make the ball come back like that, you've got to hit the ball on the bottom and follow through. A lot of people just stop the cue and stun the shot. The secret is the follow through, which creates a lot more backspin. It looks so easy, but it takes years to perfect. Let's see, there's a
44.
couple of reds. Are they both available? Yeah, no problem.
$45.
Now, doesn't need to do anything too extravagant with his positional play. Pot this pink, and the 3 loose reds will see him over the line. So this is very good, and all he can do is watch.
51. $52.
Lost in his first match last year. Quite a close frame against Mark Williams, who went on to win it. He lost 60-46, but he's well on his way to getting through to the final here.
I think he's landed a little straight on this pink, otherwise he'd have been down and stunned over. Yes, you can see he's virtually straight on this. So just drop it in. Well, he's played a little stun run through, not quite hard enough, but still should be okay.
58. $59.
Well, it's gone astray now, but well, at least he's 63 points in front, and there's only, well, there's 4 reds left. That's a possible 59. So
Yes, he'll play the black here, Dennis. I mean, it's the easiest shot to get out of, but must make sure he hits it. It just shows you a couple of shots ago he's finished straight on the pink, and this frame would definitely have been all over if he hadn't. Still favours, of
Murphy,
course.
59.
well, I'm surprised Stephen only needed 1 snooker, but he's decided that he wasn't going to get that snooker. He shakes the hand of Sean Murphy, who must be delighted to get through to the final of Pot Black. He's a local boy, Sean. He just lives down the road in Rotherham, and as I say, Stephen felt it was going to be an uphill task to get that snooker and decided to concede.
Stephen,
And Sean's quite relaxed in his chair
That
there.
must have been a bad day for you. Just quickly over here. Yeah, just over here. Quick match, but you don't get that often a chance to have a moan up about a frame of snooker and moan at the other player's expense. But talk me through that first fluke of Sean's.
Well, it was just...
What do you mean first?
No, that's one frame snooker, but the break after that was fantastic. It was faultless, really. So it was my fault. I played a bad safety. I went in off, so it's my fault, really.
And you didn't fancy carrying on there for snookers or anything like that?
No.
Great, okay. Pot Black likes you, and you like Pot Black.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the tournament. It's good fun. It's a bit more light-hearted. We all, have a bit of a chin wag backstage, and everyone's here for dinner. We're having a nice time, and what's not to like about it?
You look like you're cueing beautifully. That pink ball you knocked in was fantastic.
Well, we've been flooded through the summer. We've had nothing else to do but practice, so I've been cueing well.
Well, good luck in the final. Ladies and gentlemen, our first finalist, Sean Murphy. Thank you.
Well, I think you could call that short and sweet. Mind you, these spectators are getting decent value for money. They're having a lovely day. In fact, I've managed to collar a couple of them who've made an awfully long journey to be here. We've got Stephen and Chris here. Just, Chris, turn your chair around here. Stephen, you've come 12,000 miles for Pot Black from New Zealand.
12,000?
Is it something like that? Why?
Oh, it's
Why
about
the
36.
passion?
Well, why? We love this. We love the sport. We love Pot Black. We've always sort of followed Pot Black. I have an English accent, but I've been backwards and forwards for many, many years. But yeah, we live in Auckland, New Zealand, and we've been here 2 weeks.
And it was really because of this competition that you wanted to come. Chris, what first inspired your love of snooker when you look back in your childhood?
On the TV, really.
And who was your favourite player, would you say, from those days of Pot Black in the early days?
Steve Davis.
There you go.
Ah,
He's not lying to.
right,
He's not
okay.
lying to.
And as for you, Stephen, tell us about the impact of snooker, because it's in New Zealand it's not one of the top sports, obviously, but how
really,
difficult
no.
is it to follow over there then?
It's actually it's more sort of a working men's. My brother had the dubious honour of playing Steady Eddie before he died in 2004 in New Zealand, and there's not many sort of clubs in New Zealand that follow. So it's normally sort of snooker clubs themselves that sort of bring the stars over. But it'd be great if actually the lot sort of come over and do a bit of a Kentucky tour. Great.
Well, the accent's certainly coming out now. I can
Oh,
hear
yeah.
it, Stephen, yeah. But there's not many Kiwi players on the circuit at the moment.
There's
We remember
not.
Dino
No,
Kane, but
there's
you've
not,
got the likes
yeah.
of Neil Robertson. He's the nearest thing, albeit he's an Aussie. But do you follow his career closely?
It's very hard as well. It's very selective on what sports is actually. Of course, they're rugby mad over there, of course. So you don't get a lot to see. I mean, even soccer or football, you don't even get to see a lot of that. But snooker, every now and then, if you've got Sky or cable, you might see a match, but really not a lot. No, it needs to be pumped more over there. That's true.
Well, you can certainly spread the word. Thank you very much for talking to us. And let's have a quick look at over this table, because I know some of the locals have been gathering here. Just tell us a little bit about the atmosphere here at Pot Black. What are you enjoying most about your day, sir?
I really enjoyed the atmosphere, and also I've enjoyed talking to Sean Murphy and something like that, and it's been very interesting, really, to give their outlook on the programme and everything. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, it's going to be Ken Doherty or Graham Dott who's going to join Sean Murphy in the final. Sir, who's your money on?
Ken, probably.
Why is that?
He's got a bit of a spark about him today.
He certainly has. He's been very chipper indeed. But of course, both Ken and Graham Dott have very good memories of past times here in Sheffield. After all, they've enjoyed their moment just a few hundred yards down the road at the Crucible over the last few years.
What a moment in the career of Ken Doherty. It's difficult to describe how Ken Doherty's feeling inside at the moment. It's just unbelievable.
There's no better feeling in the world. So Ken Doherty thoroughly deserves this Embassy World Championship title.
played for the black. Does he miss the black and get on the pink? He flicks the black. He's on it perfectly. This is all he needs.
Wow, incredible. 8. It's gone through the valley of doubt and emerged the other side.
13. Randolph, 17.
Dot has dashed Ebden's hopes.
Well, this world number 4 has remained one of the game's elite players for many years. Former world champion, the darling of Dublin, Ken Doherty. Well, this young man has gone from strength to strength. The 2006 World and the reigning China Open champion, the Pocket Dynamo, Graham Dott.
So which of them is about to join Sean in the final? Which of them is about to be dragged off to the shops on Sheffield High Street by their other half? Steve and Dennis, we are about to find out.
Well, thanks, Hazel. So it's the jovial Ken Doherty who breaks off in this, the second of the semi-finals. And his opponent, well, we just saw the clip of when he won that world title against Peter Ebden and how much it meant to the young Scot. And he's got the first chance. It's one of those long pots. If you don't get the white right where you want it, you leave this pot on. He knocked it in his last match. Can he do it again?
Well, even though he didn't get the cue ball down the table, looks to have got away with this. It's a tricky cut. Ken will be playing this loose red, obviously with an element of safety involved as well. Very nicely done.
1.
A lot harder than it looked on the television screen there. It's amazing, isn't it? Thinking back to the old Pot Black days, the standard that was probably produced in those tournaments. Very rarely would you get one of these frames one in one visit, but we're seeing such a great standard with players not cold. They've had a bit of a knock on the practice table, but effectively cold in competitive terms. First frame.
Well, listen, Steve, you were one of the best in the game at starting a match. In the opening frame, you always used to get off to a quick start, and that is one of the great secrets. Stephen Hendry, another player that always started well, but Ken's not pleased with that shot there.
7.
He'd like to take this one again.
No. Sure. Positive.
Yeah, just going back to your point there, in the early days, Steve, there was no practice tables, was there? You used to be allowed to actually play on the table in the arena for maybe 15 minutes.
And as was mentioned, it was filmed between Christmas and the New Year, so there was a lot of turkey and stuffing floating around in the stomachs of Ray Reardon and John Spencer in those times.
Yeah, of course, it was all pre-recorded. They did it between Christmas, New Year, and then it was shown for 16 weeks, sometimes repeated 32 weeks. And I remember Ray saying one of his matches that was played, I think it was just after Boxing Day, it was a bit of a rough game, that Fred, against Fred Davis. It was going out in June, and Ray said, I had a bit too much Christmas pudding. So I said, oh, you eat Christmas pudding in June, Ray, do you?
Pot Black, the only tournament that the snooker players ever wore makeup for. And Graham Miles, who was follically challenged, a bit like Willie Thorne, in his time. The makeup girl was very upset at the amount of makeup she had to slap on his head. I remember those.
You mean you haven't bought Willie's new shampoo that he's brought out, Steve? It's just called Shoulders.
I used to laugh at that, but not anymore, since I'm down to the slate myself.
Well, this is the first match. I think we've had a tactical battle. Black went a bit awkward. Pink off its spot. It's a little bit awkward. So a little bit of cat and mouse here. See who can create the chance and cause his opponent to make a mistake.
And two of the best tacticians in the game today. Certainly nobody's the master of Ken Doherty in the tactical department. But you scrape Graham Dott off the table. He never gives up when it comes to a frame of snooker. Now, can Ken somehow pop that red and get on the pink? Would that be possible? I'm not too sure he's got the angle for it. So he may just have to sort of controlled hit and hope somehow here.
Well, if anyone can. Something like that. I think I was trying to say if anyone can. And he did.
If Willie Thorne does as badly tonight as that last one, he's in trouble. Yes, Dennis, did you do the can during your dancing days?
Didn't bother with that. But meanwhile, Ken's starting to open things up a little bit here.
8. $13. $14.
Still not an easy pack of reds or a set of reds at the moment. There's the possible two-ball plant to the left as an absolute last resort. He's got a bit of an angle on the blue, hopefully forcing the cue ball over to the left-hand side of the table. But it's got to be struck well.
Ken Doherty, 14.
Something must obviously go into this corner pocket.
One.
Very unlucky. Just a fraction away from bringing the black into play there. It's a little bit of a scrappy frame because of the way the black was situated and the pink.
Brown ball.
But sometimes they're a little bit more exciting. Close tactical frame.
Graham Dott 1.
Now there might be a gap here to get back down the table. At first glance it looked a good shot, but I think he might be able to get between the green and the blue and get back down off the reds just to the right of the pink there.
Yes, the red should stay relatively safe, I think, as long as he doesn't hit it too thick. Called it a bit thick and paid the penalty of giving Graham a shot.
And he might be able to get onto the... I don't know whether... Do you think he can hold the black if he pots the one into the left corner, Steve? Can he get the gap? And he could go round the table, but he might be able to hold for the black. Will he risk that?
I think he may well play for the black along the top cushion. At some stage he's got to get scoring points, and the black's not in play at the moment. I think he played it like that because it's much nicer to hit the ball positively than to play a very soft screw and float the ball in, so to speak. It's a lot more missable, and should he have done any damage by missing, he would have presented Ken with an opportunity. This way it was a shot to nothing element to that particular strike of the ball. But now obviously more positional problems. 4 cushions for the red on the top cushion. It looks like the shot. Made harder with the small extension on the end of the cue though. Changes the characteristics of the cue slightly.
Well, it was on its way to the shot you suggested, Steve, but the brown has spoiled it. Full ball contact on the brown has messed that shot up.
What about that plant as a shot to nothing? He's not really giving it much look, so perhaps... he's looking now.
Yeah, it's not a bad shot, Steve.
Looks like another possible one. Pink, the 2 reds by the pink as well, but... The good thing about playing this shot is as long as he gets the white ball down the table, he stops Ken playing the same shot in some ways. You can't get much better than that. 5. He was forced to play the safety element as well, so he's destroyed his positional play because of it, but of course he's still got control of the table and needs to put a good snooker on Ken, because
Graham Dot 5.
Ken knows his way around the snooker table. Not happy with that, was he?
Yeah, he tried to get the white tight on the blue. He's given Ken a chance to land on the red next to the black, I feel here. That's the one Ken will be playing. Tight on the blue, the shot wasn't available.
Of course, he could have just rolled up behind the green. I'm not absolutely sure, unless he was pushing the green up the table for another colour near the reds. Advanced thinking there. Is that a 2-ball plant into the middle pocket? Oh, another one. Well, this is the second very, very good chance for Ken Doherty now amongst the balls.
Just having the ball cleaned here. Still a bit awkward though with the pink and black situated as they are. In fact, he could do with the blue back up in its spot, but I don't think he might be able to just drop this in and get the blue back on its spot.
1.
He could do with some sort of an angle on a red here to pot it and maybe just nudge the red and pink, because the green's up there now, which makes it available. So, but a lot to do here. Is far from straightforward.
He may play for the red on the top cushion here. May sort of guaranteed position on it. When I say the top cushion, not the one on the top cushion, the one that's in play
6.
near the top cushion.
Yeah, I think the plan here would be to get on the blue in such a way as he could then pot the blue and maybe just disturb the pink and red. That's what I'd be looking at. But he hasn't gone far enough down. He can get on a red, but he hasn't got the angle to play that little cannon now.
Yeah, it's got
12.
What looks like 2 more open reds, and then it's debatable if any others go without some rearrangement.
Well,
not as he played, but he'll be very, very happy with the outcome of that.
I think he's looking at the 2 reds you mentioned earlier, Steve, the possibility of a plant into the left corner. He's had a glance at those 2. The one in the middle of the pink and red, and those two, well, the plant's not on, but that red clearly goes past.
So it's going to be the same shot now.
16.
Getting the cue ball up, hopefully top side of the blue, and that's when the problems start, and when Graham Dott hopes Ken will come unstuck. He's overhit that by a fraction, only a fraction, and he's got a chance to clip into the pink, but he won't know really where they're going to end up. If he hits the blue onto the pink, or the white ball onto the pink after potting the blue, the red will then disturb the other two reds. It could come out nicely.
Couldn't have played it any better.
23.
Yeah, it was important that he hit the pink half ball. Had he have hit the pink full ball, he would have snookered himself.
$29.
44 the difference. Another clean of the cue ball. If he takes a red and a pink, Graham knows that he'll still be able to tie, but I think if he does that, he'll go on and take the final red that he needs to clinch the frame. In fact, he's played to hold on the black with that cannon, so and there's the difference, 52 ahead.
37.
There's 43 on the table, so it looks as if the Irishman's going through to his first final of Pot Black.
38.
Lost in the semi-finals to Mark Williams last year. Close fought semi-final, but
45.
He's going one better this year.
46. Good. 53. 55. 58.
A little bit of a stretch here. Typical Ken. Not the tallest of players, Ken, about 5'9". And even Graham has to smile at that, but Graham hasn't had a chance really in the semi-final, or not an easy chance. Well, he won't be too disappointed in missing the brown. That was a terrific effort from the Irishman, and that break of 58 was enough to take him through to his first Pot Black final.
Well, if we can have the two exponents here, please, for a little interview. Well done, Ken. Playing pretty well, aren't you?
Well, I think after today, I think they should put all the tournaments one frame.
You seem to be laughing your way through the tournaments as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of fun. I said to Graham, it's hard, like playing one frame, but you know, it's all about enjoyment. It's a little bit more relaxed than the other tournaments, so we can, you know, we can rib each other a little bit and have a bit of fun, and that's what it's all about. And it's nice for like the public to see a little bit a different side of the players as well, you know.
Well, we know what you're all about. Graham, never really got going for you. Didn't have many chances.
No, I never get too many. Normally it takes me a frame to warm up, so I'm ready now.
Unfortunately, that's no good.
I know. Ken played well and deserved to win.
Okay, Graham. And looking forward to the final, Sean Murphy.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's his hometown, so but we have a few supporters in, so I drafted them and brought them from Ireland with me myself.
They get everywhere, those Irish people.
I know. I'm looking forward to playing in it, and hopefully it's a good game.
All right. Well, good luck on the final. Cheers, Graham. Thanks very much.
Well, they're certainly making themselves heard, Ken Doherty's fans out there. Hard lines to Graham Dock, but a semi-final place, not too shabby at all. This is a man, Steve Davis, who has played in 3 of the finals in Pot Black. In fact, you won 3 of them. I know the memories are a bit grainy, but we can show you this one.
Oh, can you?
1983 against Ray Reardon. There's the old titles rolling, and this must bring back some memories, Steve.
Oh, look at that parting. I won haircut of the year sometime in the 80s. Yes,
You really were the nugget there, weren't you?
Look, I smiled as well in those days. People forgot that.
Was the tension ratcheted up just a little bit for the finals?
I think you because there wasn't too much on the television in those days, and it was all new and fresh. I do think that it had more meaning possibly. It was very important to win it. You got exposure. Lots of players, including perhaps Dennis Taylor and the likes of Graham Miles, actually, to the general public, they were the world champions when they won Pot Black. It made them as a player and gave them exhibition work and everything. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Did I smile a bit? I smiled a bit there, and Ray would have smiled at the end. Look at this smiling Ray.
Ray.
What a great pro he was.
Absolutely,
Still is.
Still
Yes.
is indeed, yeah. And you, the late John Spencer and Eddie Charlton, the only men to win this Pot Black trophy 3 times. That must be a special feeling in some ways, isn't it?
Well, certainly, as we spoke about, the history of how much it means to snooker to have played in it as a kid would have been sort of beyond your wildest dreams, because the World Championship wasn't as well known as Pot Black at that stage. In the 80s it was, but in the 70s when you started watching it. So then all of a sudden to be invited on the programme and to play in it. Obviously other things were happening, and I was sort of became pretty decent at snooker, but it still had its relevance. And yeah, it was something to I've still got it at home. I think one of the sort of replica trophies as well. So it was nice to be on it, and it was part of sort of folklore history. Of course, recorded, and the people in the clubs, because I had a bit of inside information. They used to come and say who won it. I told a couple of my mates. They then started betting, gambling with their other mates. So then the following year I told them the wrong winner, just so the other guy got his money back.
Well,
he was cheating in the first
this
place.
Anymore, obviously.
Terrible things we've done, recorded snooker.
But we've got to congratulate you as well, Steve, because just past your 50th birthday, still a member of the top 16 club. That was your ambition.
Yeah.
And going forward now, what are the new set of ambitions that you've set for yourself?
I think this season, short term, stay in the 16.
Yeah.
All the players, you ask them now, what's a good season? There was a time when the players would say, I want to win 3 ranking tournaments. And now the players are going, well, yeah, 1 ranking tournament means I've had a successful season. So much good quality around, so in strength in depth. I can't ask for any more than 1. 2 is fantastic, 3 is a miracle season. For me, winning a tournament's tough. I can do it, but I need everything on my side more so. But really, I mean, to stay in the top 16 is big, because it's World Championship, Masters, and they are quite important tournaments in the world, big important tournaments on the circuit as far as we're concerned, but especially to go to the Crucible. Top 16 get exemption in a way to go to the Crucible, so I'm in next year, next April. But if I'm bundled out of the top 16 at the end of next April, I've got to go to the qualifiers. So that's tougher. Yeah. So that's the ambition for all the players, to get in that 16.
Of some of the youngsters coming through, when we think back to the Crucible this year, you had the likes of Mark Allen from Northern Ireland, Mark Selby with that extraordinary run to the final. There's a lot of younger guys beginning to push hard now.
Exactly, and of course, it's understandable. They're very, very keen, and the likes of Judd Trump going further, into the youth of the game. They're not going away. They may not have cut through like a hot knife through the butter to go straight to the top, but they were the best players of their eras. And they're going to be the best players in the future, as was predicted by Ronnie O'Sullivan, John Higgins in their era, and the likes of Sean Murphy coming through as one of the best players of his era. So the situation for some of the more established players are the likes of Stephen Hendry, Mark Williams, Ken Doherty. To stay in there over the test of time is testament to how good they are, but how long they can do that for before the whole brigade changes. So it's interesting to see how the eras develop and how the turnover of players goes, because the good players don't go bad overnight, so they still stay in there and cause problems. So we're all sort of in the same situation.
Well, you mentioned the New Brigade, and perhaps one of the foremost members of that is Neil Robertson, the Australian left-hander. We saw him going out a little bit earlier on against Stephen Hendry. But really, this is a fun start to us for the new snooker season. But the serious business begins next weekend when the Royal London Watches Grand Prix returns to Aberdeen. Now, Neil Robertson has had the trophy sitting on his mantelpiece for the last 12 months, and he really does not want to give it back.
I think for the first probably 30 seconds or a minute, it was just this empty feeling. Then I realised what I'd done, and it was just the most amazing feeling. You know, I think anyone could ever feel. I think, you know, being a sportsman, we're very lucky to feel those emotions, and it's just an incredible feeling. It's so hard to describe.
Next Saturday, Neil and 47 others start out in round-robin action in Aberdeen. This year, the matches are going to be best of 7 frames compared with best of 5 last year. And the top 2 in each of the 8 groups will progress to the knockout stages. Neil heads Group A, which includes former Grand Prix winner Stephen Lee, and 2 ex-top 16 players, Joe Perry and Joe Swale. Meanwhile, the spaceman's on cloud 9 again. Dominic Dale lifted his first trophy for a decade in August when he picked up the Shanghai Masters title. And Dom joins Ronnie O'Sullivan and Steve Davis in Group B. And look out as well for qualifier Mark Joyce, who'll be making his TV debut against Ronnie next Saturday. That's a date to remember. Mark Selby thrilled the Crucible audience with a run to the World Championship final last season. He takes his place in Group C alongside Louis Song, Joe Delaney, Dave Harold, Matthew Stevens and Peter Ebdon. Peter failed to qualify for the second stage last time around and is hoping for better now.
Personally, I'm not particularly a fan of the round-robin format in the Grand Prix, but I think it's good for the game that we do have something different. I think it will make a difference this year that we're playing best of 7 round robins instead of best of 5 round robins last year. And at the end of the day, it's match practice.
China's Ding Junhui makes his debut as a member of the top 16 club this season, and a strong list of contenders join him in Group D, including Marco Fu, Stuart Bingham and the 2005 world champion Shaun Murphy.
I don't think there's anything wrong with tweaking the tournament like the Grand Prix to just show a slightly different format of snooker, and maybe one day we'll have 4 or 5 events that are different formats.
Getting out of Group E is going to be tricky. World number 2 Graham Dott heads up that one. He's alongside Ali Carter, Anthony Hamilton, Michael Holt, Fergal O'Brien and Marcus Campbell.
For the ordinary spectators, I think it's great because they can walk in and they can see, 3 or 4 matches. Maybe from the one group, so it's quite exciting for TV as well.
Ken's excited and he's made it through to the round-robin stage last year, only to be beaten in the second round. Group F is going to be tough as well. Look out for Mark Allen, who beat Ken in the World Championship first round this year. The shotgun, Jamie Cope from Stoke, reached 2 ranking finals last season and I'll be hoping to go one better this time around. With him in Group G are the formidable Scots Stephen Maguire and Stephen Hendry, who remains positive despite coming bottom of his round-robin group last time.
I think it's very important to have different formats and tournaments. I think it creates variety, which is good for the viewers as well as the players. There was obviously some gripes last year. Some players, not everybody's going to like it. I didn't qualify, not because of the format, because I played rubbish. Simple as that. If you play well, it doesn't matter what the format is, you go through it.
John Higgins certainly played well to win his second world title in May, and with it the #1 ranking. He's full of confidence.
If you lose one match, you're not necessarily out of the tournament on your way home. You can come back, bounce back, and if you win your other matches, that you can actually try and get through. So I think it's a lot better for the players as well. Best of 7 towards a best of 5. It doesn't sound much, it seems only 2 frames, but in a lot of the players' minds, it'll be a longer match, and I'm sure they can relax and try and play their way into the tournament.
And finally, Group H includes top 16 newcomer Ryan Day of Wales, who's already a finalist this season in Shanghai, and the second of 2 Chinese qualifiers, 20-year-old Tian Penfei. and we three will be reunited in Aberdeen once again. Enjoyed it last year. Best of 5 it was in the group stages, and that was really tricky. They've put it out to best of 7 in the round robins, John. What difference do you think that's going to make?
Absolutely none, because I got beat qualifying again. No, best of 7s, they're going to like best of 7s more than they like best of 5s. That's a guarantee. I was in groups of 8 to get 2 through, which was tough. But looking at some of those, the 6s are going to be really hard to pick 2 in, isn't it? But the best of 7s will make a difference.
Steve, you are in a very tough group with Ronnie O'Sullivan. Only 2 going through, as John says.
Yes.
What's the strategy going into these matches then?
Well, the fact that the best of 5, I think you just think it's a bit of a lottery. Best of 7, all of a sudden, it becomes more of in a way, proper event. I know it sounds strange to say that. The strategy is you just got to try and play pretty decent in all of them and hopefully get enough results. But I mean, I'm not so worried about Ronnie. My worry is whether Dominic's got his hair back to some sort of normality, because he had it dyed out in China, which obviously worked. But if you were going to go and have your hair dyed blonde, you'd have it dyed before you went over to China, because they probably don't get that much practice doing blonde dyes.
Blonde hair, right.
So yeah, it came out yellow.
This is Dominic Dale, in case you're wondering. Dominic, the spaceman Dale, who is just on cloud 9 after winning in China.
What a fantastic result for him.
Extraordinary result for him there.
So, you know, he's going to be playing decent stuff. But I think we all go into this thinking, well, it's a fair test now, best of 7s, and you're going to get 5 matches, so you can't moan. I think it's a great tournament. My only worry, and I say this quite openly because I think it's good to sort of talk about the problems that sport has with betting sometimes. In the future, I only hope that somewhere down the line that nothing happens where somebody moans and says somebody didn't try hard enough because they couldn't win and it was a betting thing, because that can always happen. But in essence, this is a great tournament the way it pans out now.
Yeah. It's, as Peter Ebden was saying, it's interesting to get different formats in the big major events in snooker. How do you feel about trying to keep the variety going? A lot of people do like the rat-a-tat matches, and they like the matches plentiful and full of variety.
I liked the tournaments a few years ago they used to play, where they used to, you know, you win your round and you go in the hat and you got drawn out. So the problem with that was, logistically, it was a nightmare. You didn't know tickets you could sell for which match and when they were playing. But I actually liked that format. They used to get a celebrity in and he'd make the draw, and it could be, you know, last 16, O'Sullivan versus Hendry, or I thought that was a really good format. But as I say, there does have the problems of you not knowing which match you're going to watch. If you could convince the public they were coming in to watch a snooker match or a couple, but they didn't know who they were going to watch and they'd stand for that, that'd be great, because I think that tournament was really good.
But how important do you think it is? We've got 48 guys starting out next weekend, and for them to get a chance to play the top players, several of them obviously get a chance to come through qualifying, but this is a good opportunity to take a few scalps, surely, for them.
Yes, it is. I'm not too sure whether it works out better or just playing a straightforward best of 9. But in the qualifying best of 9, say you've got to play 3 qualifying matches to get through the Prestati and Pontins bit where it's played up there. That's very hard. It's very hard to do. So this is a good way of possibly getting some match practice for some of the players a little bit lower down. But then you look at the players that are in the groups; they're not exactly newcomers.
No,
they're established players.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's
we
just
don't
their chance.
see them all the time on the telly, is the point, really.
They're all great players. It's just this is a chance for them to perhaps get a couple of matches under their belt and win through their league, and then use that as a springboard for more.
Well, look at Jamie Cope, who made it to the final only to be beaten. In fact, he made 2 world ranking at finals last year. He hasn't won one just yet, but we'll soon see. He's a man who is on the up and up.
He's a serious player, and if he adds 1 or 2 safety shots to what he's got, which is a fantastic potting game, he is going to be a tournament winner.
Okay, well, do join us next weekend. In fact, if you are in the northeast of Scotland, or indeed you're travelling up, tickets still available, and let me just remind you of how you can get a hold of them. The ticket line, I am assured, 08444, it's 779,000. I'll just give you it again, 08444 779,000. So do come and join us. We always have a very good week up in Aberdeen. Now, as ever, when we look at this, chaps, it was only 5 months or so. Well, it's a bit more than that. It's only 5 months since we were here, but when we look ahead, we'll be back in Sheffield before we know it. It goes in a flash, the old snooker season, doesn't it? But since we were last here, a lot of changes have been happening to the Crucible venue. We were poring over plans about the redevelopment of the home of snooker, and we'll give you a quick sneak preview as to the progress that's been made since we were last here. This was the look of the old place in the spring, and now things are beginning to change up top.
The first stage of the changes to the Crucible has been the roof, which is what most people will notice if they haven't seen the building for a while. So we've got rid of the famous red fiberglass topping, and we've replaced it with brass, which will weather down into a kind of bronze effect, which is what the original architects wanted, but wasn't affordable at the time. So we're actually stripping it back to how it should have appeared, and in doing so we're also making it weatherproof, which is a big plus. After the snooker next year, so from May 2008, we close the building, and the construction company comes in and really starts ripping things apart, so that we have new spaces, a new bar area, new public areas, and the auditorium will be completely refurbished. It's about to be listed by English Heritage, so we're not doing too much that will be noticeable other than adding to the comfort of it, dealing with the things that work well, improving the things that don't work so well at the moment. When we host World Snooker, we actually have to make a lot of temporary changes to the building, and what we're doing is integrating those changes so that there will be fewer sort of temporary signs, temporary walls and so forth, more integrated accommodation for the players and the officials, so it'd be less disruptive for us, frankly, and more comfortable for them when they come.
Well, I think it looks quite funky. What do you think?
It does look lovely. I'm sure I'm going to be in trouble for saying this, but I hope they got CCTV cameras on this, because that's some base metal. That's a nice few quid there.
Don't put ideas in people's heads. Moving swiftly on. What do you think of the new
It looks
flag?
nice.
Yeah, right, okay.
I've got a banner with my name on it already.
Oh, Steve. It's long overdue, though, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's nice to see the exterior of it and everything, but it's the interior that needed a little bit of a spruce up, which it's going to get. It was looking a little bit tired near the end of it, so I'm sure they'll do a good job on that. And it's the venue itself is the best you'll play in. It's just electric. Ever since I was a boy at 14 and went in there to watch a match, it's never been any different, and it's a great play. Anyone who's a snooker player should aspire to play in that venue.
Yes, especially with it all being spruced up in time for our return next April, which will be along in a flash, absolutely. But let's get back to the business in hand. Almost time for the final of Pot Black, and Sir Rodney Walker is the chairman of snooker's governing body. He's very impressed with the return of this prestigious little tournament.
Well, Sir Rodney, it's the third year of the new Pot Black, as it were, and it seems very well received.
Well, I hope so, and we've done 2 years in London, here in Sheffield at the amazing refurbished City Hall. Pot Black, of course, is one of the events that many people first came to learn snooker from when it was a BBC Two regular televised series. We're delighted the BBC wanted us to introduce it 3 years ago, and I hope that we can see this event going long into the future.
Now, of course, Sheffield is synonymous with snooker. We've had a couple of years in London, but great to be here as well, isn't it?
Well, it is, and the nice thing about Sheffield is that they are so enthusiastic about their involvement with snooker. In fact, they now brand us as Sheffield, the city of snooker. And why shouldn't they? They've given us a brand new academy into which they've invested £750,000. The contract with this Crucible goes on now to 2010. And whilst we are receiving some very attractive offers from far-flung places, China in particular, for the World Championship, I think for some time we shall see snooker here in Sheffield.
As for Pot Black, healthy future then? Going to carry on?
I think so. The BBC seem very happy with it. The format seems to work. It's a very different event to our normal ranking events, where the players are very focused and on their snooker. We've seen today how Ken Doherty treats the event in a much more light-hearted manner, and so it's good for the public generally to see the players as real people rather than people just simply focused on the snooker table.
No, thanks for your time, Sir Rodney.
Thank you very much, John.
Well, Sir Rodney's certainly enjoying it, as are we. You know, it's best of 35 frames in the World Championship final at the Crucible. It takes 2 days and then some to complete. This Pot Black final could be all over in a flash, but the satisfaction of winning it will remain with the winner for an awfully lot longer. In fact, let's just remind you of some of the great names who've won this trophy in the past. The spoils in this tricky little competition have been claimed by some of the most renowned players. Mark Williams, the most recent of them. Ray Reardon was the first 38 years ago. The late John Spencer and Eddie Charlton both claimed a Pot Black hat-trick. Steve Davis would go on to do the same. Then came Graham Miles and Cliff Thorburn, Terry Griffiths, Doug Mountjoy, Jimmy White. All of them did so much to popularise the game of snooker in the 70s and 80s. And since we reintroduced the competition a couple of years ago, it's the Welsh who've dominated with wins for Matthew Stevens and Mark Williams. But who will be the first to win in Sheffield City Hall here in what is the 75th anniversary of this lovely building? Will it be an Englishman, Sean Murphy, or an Irishman, Ken Doherty? Well, the Beatles played here back in 1963. I'm not imagining there'll be too much hysteria or a hail of underwear greeting the players as they come on, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, and MC Richard Bear is ready for anything.
Well, now to the finalists, and this world number 4 has remained one of the game's elite players for many years. Former world champion, the darling of Dublin, Ken Doherty! Well, this former world champion is now one of snooker's most feared competitors, the reigning Malta Cup champion, the Whiston Warrior, Sean Murphy!
Well, Sean Murphy knows what it's like to be in the final. He was a runner-up 2 years ago. This is the first time in the Pot Black final for Ken Doherty. So here we go. A fast-approaching Steve Davis heading his way with Dennis Taylor to the commentary box. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you, Hazel. Looking forward to this one.
Thank you. Sean Murphy to break.
So Sean won the toss, and he is breaking off. Always important to get a good break-off shot in a one-frame match, and that's pretty good. Whichever player wins here will be very popular. And a new name on the trophy, of course. And always nice to have that on your CV, Pot Black champion. That looked to be the perfect break-off shot, and the smiling Ken cues this one perfectly, but he's left himself a very tricky black, and Steve, the fit Steve Davis, has sprinted up the stairs and is in the commentary box watching this black.
3 flights. Beautiful shot. Not ideally on this red, but
8.
Getting the extension out. I think he'll probably pot it.
Now, this is another innovation that we didn't have all those years ago. Extensions and pieces to put on the end of the cue. The old long tackle with a tip on it the size of a, well, it was like a mushroom on the end of it. A big mushroom.
Ooh. It does, as I mentioned in one of the other frames, change the cue characteristics a bit. Even though you're playing with your own tip, you've got a lot more weight on the cue, and effectively it makes perhaps the cue a bit stiffer, or it certainly pushes the ball off course a bit more. So if you're playing with side spin, as Ken was there, perhaps you have to allow for a bit more throw off from the tip, and that's why he caught it a bit thick. So an excellent chance for Sean Murphy. We've seen what sort of form he's in.
1.
This was in a long frame match. You'd be talking about a frame-winning opportunity, or certainly Willie would be, if he didn't have other things on his mind at this moment, like getting nervous for his dancing debut. How long's he got to go before he must be getting nervous now? I know we're talking about something that's not what we're showing here. Willie's dancing. When's it starting?
6:15 this evening, and we can't wait to see him. BBC One. They'll be doing a dress rehearsal now, and he'll be pretty nervous at that. But meanwhile, there's, even though it's relaxed here, still a little bit of tension in this final here. The crowd certainly have enjoyed it. It's been very relaxed.
Well, the lunch was free. That does help, doesn't it?
7.
People ask me, do I still play these days? I said, Stan Boardman says, the only time I go to the table these days is to have my dinner. Now, key shot coming up. He can open the reds up here.
Massive amount of backspin on to not only try and disturb all the reds, but to play position on this red into the corner, which he's
15.
He's on, but in some ways he may be on it too well, because not sure how easy it is to get out of this position, to get he might be okay to get away from the cushion. Perhaps he can run through off 2 cushions. Yes, he's okay here.
16.
Yeah, they didn't split too well previously, so he might just play another cannon here when potting this black. Now, how's
What
that?
another fantastic strike. He does strike the ball so well.
23.
There's no shot in the book that Sean Murphy struggles with, but screwbacks are the bane of most amateur players' lives when it comes to not only hitting them well and getting the screw back on, but then potting the ball as well. Sean Murphy does it effortlessly. And when it comes to playing angled screwbacks, when you've got to cut the black in and also go into the pack, it's very easy to take your eye off the shot, but Sean Murphy concentrates on the pot and lets the cue do the work. That was missable. The same thing applied, but it was a missable shot.
Yeah, I think it was the previous shot. He didn't quite get on the black as he intended. He was a bit further away from it, and a little bit of tension creeping in there. He knew that that was a very good chance with the way the reds were situated.
Yes, I think all the players have played pretty relaxed to get to the final. Well, perhaps the only tension in the game may be this final, because there is some prize money at stake. A significant jump for a day's work, anyway. I'd love to tell you what it is, but I'm not absolutely sure.
I think what happened, Steve, the winner gets £7,000, so it is a frame of snooker worth at least 4,000.
Have another go, Will. Dan, sorry.
Well,
More?
I think some of the players, Stephen Hendry thought the winner got 7,000. It may be 10,000.
I think probably it was 10,000, but they told Stephen it was 7. They told him it was 7 just because they did a deal with him for less, and he just jumped at it, you know. But of course, it's nothing to having that pot black trophy on your mantelpiece, is it? Not the biggest trophy in the world that Snooker World's ever produced, the pot black trophy,
12.
but in some ways the most important, because it started snooker off.
And there it is there. In fact, I've still got
13.
some pot black cufflinks and a pot black tie. They used to...
I melted my cufflinks down. So, 4 open reds, very gettable, but needs a good positional shot. It's going to be interesting with these remaining reds on the side cushion.
16.
It could go down to the colours, this particular frame. It would be fitting to have a pot black final that had a bit of tension on the colours in it.
Yeah, of course, last year, the
17.
final, Mark Williams made a century break to win the final. Only the 3rd ever made in the history of pot black.
Eddie Cholton made one, I believe. 110.
Steady Eddie, yeah. Don't know how long it took, Steve, but he did make one.
It was about a day, I think it took. This is a bit easier because it's dead straight. He won't be putting any side spin on, so no danger of missing this, he said.
Where is the pinks? spot there. Is there enough room? I think there's just enough room, so it might tie the pink up a little bit here. Black still in a potable position.
23.
The pink slightly out of commission here. So it's still no problem. He can play nicely up for the blue.
24.
He's not going to be any more than 30 points in front once he's potted these two balls around the pink. Should he be able to do that, he's got to get two of those reds, really, of the side cushion ones before he's home and dry in this frame, and that's assuming he pots these two around the pink spot. This is a very deft little tricky shot now.
29.
There's a lot more of a cutting angle than it looks here. Very missable.
Yes, well called, Steve. And the reason it was missable, he was so close to the red with the cue ball there. It's difficult to see the angle. It really is difficult to see the angle when they're so close together. So it is going to be a tense final here to the 2007 Pot Black.
One. Four.
This frame certainly
Five.
now destined to go to the colours, and with that yellow ball on the side cushion, unless it's moved in the safety exchange with the reds, should that be the outcome of the final three reds, this could go all the way to the end. You won't be happy with that shot. Why he didn't play that harder? Obviously he didn't want to knock it past the middle pocket, but I think probably on reflection he'd have rather hit it harder and taken his chances than to play dead weight like that. He obviously just wanted to push it over the middle.
It was a strange shot because he certainly was short of pace. It was as if he was trying to drop in behind it, which there was no use in doing that. But this is a tricky one now up the cushion.
Snooker element to that as well,
John Murphy.
safety wise.
Okay.
Now, you see, he played it like dead weight. He's got to play it with a lot more pace. I think he just underhit it, Steve, didn't he?
Yes, I mean, so many times you play to knock that red off the side cushion and you'd play it perfectly, but you just push it past the middle pocket and you're no better off. But I think you still then have a shot at it in the corner. But he just obviously just underhit it. I mean, by enough that it made it look a poor shot. Could have misjudged the cushion bounce, but it was end of break anyway.
Is Sean going to be tempted? That red goes past the green. That's the one he's looking at. There's quite a bit of risk involved with this. He's got a straightforward safety shot off the red there, the right side of the table. He's having a good long think about this one.
Not so sure it's worth really going for. I mean, it's not like he can guarantee to win the frame should he knock it in, unless, I don't know, he's trying to think about whether he could actually win the frame from that red. I think containment is the order of the day. Oh, didn't want that.
That was very careless. He concentrated on the white, but you've got to get the object ball safe. That's probably the most important part.
Very difficult shot into the middle pocket there, especially with the cue ball tight on the top cushion.
Isn't it funny, Steve, how like Sean made the mistake of pushing the red on and it's worked to his advantage. It's amazing the number of times that happens.
Oh, it's catching. All of a sudden one player misses a few, the other one does. We've all seen this before. I think we had a match ages ago like that, didn't we? One frame. I think it wasn't just a one-frame match, but it ended up on the last one and some other ball involved. About this line, you potted it down there and then stuck your cue in the air and wagged your finger.
Right, one red potable, one red safe next to the yellow. All about the angle. He can stop on the brown and then play the cannon.
Has he
potting the brown? I think he's okay. Well,
8.
should be. As long as he gets the white near enough where the red is, he can play the cannon when potting the brown to bring the red into play, the difficult red.
I wonder if he run through it. It was a bit too close otherwise. Yeah, I knew exactly what I was talking about there.
9.
I just wonder if now he's got the right angle. He obviously had a check round. Has he got the angle here? I suppose he must have. It just doesn't look like it.
I think he might have let the white run just a bit too far, and the white might just slip past the red the way he's left it. So it's just a misjudgment there, just a fraction.
Well, now he's looking at the snookering possibility. So he obviously cannot play this cannon white onto the red. It's going to go too wide. There's no way of narrowing the angle. You could widen the angle. You can't narrow the angle, the natural angle of the cue ball. So now, has he got the angle to play the safety shot? Snooker behind the yellow.
13.
Looks like he must be able to manufacture something from this position. Oh, he didn't want to do that.
Ken Doherty.
To sound like a far show character there. You don't want to do that.
I was telling you what I was thinking there, Steve, though. Why pot the brown? He can just roll tight up against the brown and play the snooker.
Well, you're right. And perhaps the red's still safe there. He gets no benefit from eventually if it is hit or if it's a miss situation, the red's not in play. But it would have been a tricky snooker if he'd have rolled up behind the brown. You don't think he was stealing the points? They're 4 points. 16 points in front.
Well, sometimes in a one frame, 4 points could make a difference towards the end of the frame. We'll find out in a few minutes' time.
Bit of insurance with the pink. Well, you're right, Dennis. I mean, usually Ken makes very good tactical choices. Just sit and think about that and write a thesis on it, whether it was right to roll up behind the brown or pot the brown and roll up. Send it to Sheffield University. A few keen snooker players there. What were the merits? Good chance of... I don't think he'll play the pot here, but a good chance of a good safety shot.
Well, a chance here. It's a sort of shot to nothing. He can play to snick the red in, and if he should pot it, he would finish on the black, you would think.
Yes, and also maybe in a nice position should he get the right position on the black, just coming down into this corner, so that then knocked the yellow out. Obviously he's got to get the red first. That was a bit wishful thinking, but here's a chance for Ken to wrap this up. If this goes in, he could might possibly just be able to get the yellow out. It's a very aggressive shot. Don't know if the green's in the way. Well, there's a bit of rubbish commentary. Obviously the green was in the way and there was no possibility of getting the yellow out. He's still in a very, very strong position as I backtrack.
It's all about that difficult yellow, so just playing the snooker, no real value in potting the black that time. So he's certainly in the driving seat at the moment, is Ken.
Yes, and the dreaded miss rule comes into play. Wasn't originally in pot black, was it? The miss rule. 2 cushion escape, side, bottom cushion, and try and nudge in on the balk line behind the yellow. I don't think the 1 cushion's the right way to go. Two cushions much safer. Obviously he hasn't got that many points to play with from missing it, but I think two cushions the way.
That looks pretty good. Has he got enough pace on it? Not quite.
Foul and a miss. Ken Doherty, 4.
I hope it's not decided on the miss rule here, because what's the difference now? There's 21 the difference. If he misses this time and a miss is called and he misses again, he's going to need a snooker. So I hope he gets close or hits it this time.
Looks to be roughly the same line. He's going to miss it again.
Foul and a miss. Ken Doherty, 4.
Yeah, you see he's doing his utmost to hit this here, and now if he doesn't hit it this time, he's going to need a snooker. So I don't know if there's possibility of having a little bit of leeway in this sort of situation with the miss rule.
Well, I think snooker fans have probably made their mind up on whether they like it or not. Snooker players certainly have. But there doesn't seem to be any resistance to the miss rule by the top players, and that would be the only way I think that the rule would be changed now, is if there was enough sort of discourse amongst the players. That was a lovely shot.
Well, I'm so pleased he has hit that. At least he's now still in with a chance. He's 25 points behind. Sean in the background there needs all the colours. Ken just needs the yellow, but Michaela Tabb, correct decisions there. She's one of our top referees and very rarely makes a mistake. Very respected by all the players.
Yes, and the referees don't like calling the miss. It's just part of the rules. I think they feel like the same as a lot of people. It's a bit unfair sometimes, but they're just enforcing the rules. And now here's a chance. Would be a great clearance where the pink is, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility that if Sean knocks in a good yellow here, that pink rolls along the top cushion. But he won't be too disappointed, will he? Has he got the snooker? Has he made it difficult for Ken? Ooh, tried to get behind the blue, didn't it?
He may have to just bend it slightly. The white just seemed to keep on going, and I think he's got to play it with a little touch of swerve there. He's got to get a little trace of side on it, and that's very difficult to judge it, especially with the distance between the two balls. But he's playing it with just a little touch of side.
Fantastic view here, haven't we? You can just, yes, just a fraction of swerve there. No, he's pushed it out too far, yes. And this looks like he's going to be stuck up over the corner. Another chance for Sean Murphy. Not easy to get on the green, but Sean Murphy's got the cue power. He's got to wallop this one.
Two.
This is a tough shot. Obviously the green's potable. He's going to play it with lots of backspin to avoid the in-off. Try and screw to the side cushion. Oh, great try. And that's game over.
Sean Murphy, 2.
Yes, he just couldn't get the white up the table when he potted the yellow. He sort of played it with a lot of pace, but couldn't quite get the white up, and that was a tough green. Ken having a quick glance at the scoreboard. The difference is 23. So just the green needed.
3.
Well, it was anyone's final here. Both players having chances. A little bit of tension crept in, which is always going to happen when you're playing in the final of any tournament, even though it's been a relaxed pot black.
12.
A little trick shot attempted on the pink, but it's been a very good pot black this year. I've certainly enjoyed it, and all the players have. But it is the darling of Dublin who beat Sean Murphy, and he becomes the 2007 pot black champion. Well played, Ken.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we invite the chairman of World Snooker, Sir Rodney Walker, to help with the presentation. And first and foremost, your appreciation for the runner-up, Shaun Murphy. Checks in the post, Shaun. And ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Pot Black champion, Mr. Ken Doherty. Hand over that famous trophy, Sir Rodney. Actually, you are actually the first Irishman to win Pot Black, so congratulations. Well done. Thanks, Sir Rodney. John, you come in. Well, it was a little bit of a scrappy frame, and you can't complain. You had your chances.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had a good chance in the balls and then a good chance on the yellow. So all you hope for is one chance in a one frame. So I had two and didn't take it.
But Ken, a lot of famous names on that trophy. I know it's a little bit of fun and we've all enjoyed ourselves today, but still great to put your name on that list of honour.
To be honest, like Shaun was probably, he wasn't even born when Pot Black came out, and I grew up on Pot Black like you did as well. So it's great that it's been resurrected and revived, and it's great to take part in it, and it's been a fabulous day, and it's nice to go down in history with all the great names on here.
It's also nice to play with a smile on your face, a little bit of fun as well. Express yourself a bit more.
Yeah, I know I'm a miserable so-and-so, but you don't have to rub it in. I know, it's great. It's nice for the people to come and support us, and also to see a different light to all the different personalities in snooker, and it's great to have a little bit of fun. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more relaxed, and it's a joy to play like this as well. It's a little bit serious at some of the other tournaments because there's a lot more at stake, but sometimes it's nice to have a little joke and a banter sometimes, because at the end of the day, it's all about entertainment, and you have to be there to entertain the crowd.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for your entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Ken Doherty.
So, as John was saying, Ken Doherty, the smiling Ken, becomes the first Irishman. Many have tried before him, but he's the first one to do it. I think he's going to sign a few autographs on the way out, or just share a couple more jokes and a bit of crack with the paying customers. He's enjoyed it here, and I know he has brought several of his fans here. They've made themselves heard. I've been joined here in the studio by Dennis Taylor, another famous Irishman, and Steve, of course. He's done, Dennis, what you, Alex Higgins, and others tried but failed.
I got to two finals. It's so difficult to win Pot Black. I mean, Steve was, 3 times. Okay, it's one frame, but it still takes a lot of winning. And Ken looks absolutely delighted. And I think he deserved to win it. He played the best snooker. He enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, Shaun Murphy enjoyed it as well. But Ken was in great form, wasn't he? He really was.
Fittingly tense. It wasn't the greatest frame, but at least it gave us something to think about.
That's right. I mean, it is astonishing how some of the standard of snooker now, even in this one frame thing that's been going on for a couple of years now, we've resurrected Pot Black, to see how big the breaks have been. But that was an old-fashioned frame of a few mistakes and things not going the right way for the players. So you can always see another side of snooker. We've seen many frames like that, obviously, before, but in the end, it came down to a tactical battle.
And nice to set your season up with a victory. In fact, it's his second one. He's got two trophies now, isn't he?
You heard him earlier how pleased he was to win the Irish Championship. I mean, I was lucky to win it on 6 occasions, but there was only 2 or 3 players. Now they've got, 8, a dozen, maybe more top players there. So to win the Irish Championship give Ken a lot of confidence, and I think he's going to have a decent season this year.
I think he is indeed. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been great fun. We will be sprinting, hightailing it indeed, up to Aberdeen very shortly, in fact. And let's just show you what's on up there. It is, of course, the Royal London Watches Grand Prix. And as we've been saying, 48 players are going to be starting out there next Saturday, including our Steve Davis, and what's going to be a blur of chalk dust and elbows. It's the round-robin format, and we're going to be on the air late on Saturday to reflect on the opening day's play. So our snooker season is off to a fly here in Sheffield, and so indeed is Ken Doherty. Now it's time to find out what's been happening around the country with the football headlines so far. From us all here in Sheffield, bye for now.